Hey, what's going on, you guys? I just got back from the NAWCQ 2022, or the North American Championships, whatever it's called now. And I got top 64 playing blind second Despia. It's 50 cards. I got the idea from Christian Urena. Big shout out to him. So I'll start off with my shout outs. Like I said, first and foremost, shout out to Christian Urena for being one of the best teachers in the game. He also made top 64, unfortunately lost to some unforeseen circumstances. Variance, it happens in the game. I as well also lost top 64 to some misplays, as well as like my opponent just opening God Hand, but we'll get him next time, no big deal. Shout out to Cameron Neal for also helping us test. Big shout out to Jordan Miller for believing in me, being my theory partner, my testing partner, all that good stuff. So big ups to him. Couldn't have done it without all these guys. Shout out to Matt Winford, Kai Wynn, Clifford Rojas, some of the other Omega Gaming guys. Like Henry Chang, Zachary Rodriguez, Alex Cancel, and whoever else I forgot to mention, I apologize. Without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. But like I said, it's 50 cards because we were trying 40, we're trying like 60. Mathematically, it was just the best at 50 because you saw enough of your engine to where you weren't breaking, and you didn't see like a lot of defensive cards and stuff like that. So like this just ended up working out really well. So without further ado, 3 Luber, 3 Tragedy, 1 Adlib, 1 Dramaturge. So first let me talk about 3 Tragedy. In a 50 card deck playing like multiple draw cards, you want a higher probability of seeing this, hard opening this, so you can get to your engine like a Luber. But also like you want to have a better grind game than your opponent as well, playing 3, because players will oftentimes play 2. And again, you just don't want to have to like recycle these, and you just want to be able to like just raw set your cards instead of having to like worry about recycling them because you only have 2. Dramaturge is insane because it made Branded Opening not only a starter and extender, but also a defensive card. This allowed you to like beat every Hulk decks in draw phase. You can just summon this. So, and against the scythe decks, you just like TG1 Magician, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Dramaturge, negate it. And then again, even if they're playing like the Calamities decks, this will always make Calamities miss timing because you just go Formula Go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Dramaturge to attempt to negate it. They'll have to synchro. If not, on summon, if they choose to not draw a card, you can just still go Dramaturge, Chainlink 1, attempt to negate. Even if they chain it, Calamities will not resolve. So, card's insane. Next, 3 Albaz. I constitute this card as a starter going second because the only thing you really need to kind of like get your engine started is to get a Mirror Jade on board, and then you go like Mirror Jade, send Albion, get the Brand Fusion, and that's what really gets your engine on board, like I said. Nothing else about this card. It's insane. We don't play the McCourier, the Kit, or the Albion, the Shadow Dragon, because those cards are good, yes, but they don't do anything on their own. McCourier already requires you to start playing as is. And Albion, like, we made the concession to not play that card simply because oftentimes against the base decks, they'll have Herald up, and then Albion can't send a monster such as Albaz. So your Brandon and Reds that are dead in hand can't automatically be live anymore. And also, like, drawing a card is great, but then it plays into Droll, so we just figured like there's just better cards to be playing over the Albion, the Shadow Dragon. So this was fine though, like I said. 3 Edge and Chain, nothing really to say about this. And then the one light target that we decided to play wasn't Snow. We actually cut Snow because in testing like blinding second, Snow didn't actually come up enough, because usually if you're using your defensive cards to trade with your opponent's engine, your engine doesn't trade with anything. It reestablishes control, so that way like Snow doesn't really ever come up anymore. So we opted to play Golden Lord. Shout out to Christian Urena for recommending this. This card allows you to have like enable OTKs significantly faster. It makes Aluber a 10,000 damage combo, and it makes Brain Infusion by itself as a 9,000 damage combo, right? And Golden Lord is also really good for you to like out floodgates. So for example, in the matchups where they have like a skill drain and stuff like that, you can send this off with the Brand Infusion, add it back, and then just out the Brand Infusion. So this card was just actually insane. Yeah, so this card was actually insane. Sorry about the noise in the background. My dog's eating right now. But anyways, so this card was just actually insane. Other than that, nothing else to really say about this card. Like you can also like, I also play Mystic Mind, so like you can send this off with Brand Fusion, and then just play under your own Mystic Mine. And this card just, or pick apart their board also with this card. This card's just insane. So highly recommend trying it. And I'm sorry for the lack of explanation sometimes. I just drove back 15 hours from Chicago, so pretty dead right now. 3 branded opening, and then 3 branded fusions. So like I mentioned before, starter extended defensive card if you play Dramaturge. This card's insane. So this card's also insane. It functions as removal by sending Golden Lord, and you can add it back and like just like pick apart their board with the Golden Lord. But also like this card is just like insane. I mean, everybody knows what this card does, so don't really need to bore you to death with this. Patchwork with the 2 polys, nothing really say. And then 2 branded in red and 1 branded banishment. I decided to play this over the 3rd branded in red because I love playing 3 of this. 3 wasn't that great in testing. Like I kept drawing multiples, but prior to that point, like I loved playing 3 of these. But like this just happened to work out really well. Like I played 2 mirrors in Swiss, and this just came up. I played like 1 D-Link. This was good as well. I wouldn't really change anything with this ratio. And you'll see, like when I show you the draw cards next, if I am able to, I'll usually try to search this before resolving the draw cards. But if you can't, unfortunately, then I mean it's just something that you kind of just have to deal with. But yeah, this worked out really well. The draw cards: 3 Allure, 2 Desires. I don't really have much to say about this card. I resolved it like a handful of times, and every time I did, it was like either insanely good or like really fucking bad. Excuse my language. So there's one time the first 3 rounds of Swiss, I think like round 2 or 3, I resolved this, and the first time I resolved this, I banished my entire Patchwork engine. Second time I banished 2 Albaz and like a majority of my Despia engine. So like I don't really know. I don't really have enough. 3 Allure. So straight out the bat, a lot of people are gonna ask me like, you don't have that many dark monsters, right? So it looks like at face value I only have 14 dark monsters, right? But you also count 3 branded opening and 3 patchwork, so you actually have 20 dark monsters, right? And the mathematics behind that is you're gonna be able to open up one dark monster in a 6-card opening hand going second. Obviously, is about 96%. If you cut the deck down to 40 cards, the math is only 98% to draw 20. Right, so it's just doesn't justify playing 40 cards over 50. 50 enables you to play more cards and not brick as often, as strange as that sounds. Because there's a lot of cards that you just don't want to see. Like you don't want to see Golden Lord in your opening hand ever. So, oh, I think I showed all this. Yep. And this is the nitty-gritty part of the deck that everybody wants to see. So call by. 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Mystic Mine, 3 Dark Ruler no more, 3 Droplet, and 3 Super Poly. So first I'm going to start off by saying this is 16 defensive cards if you're not counting the branded opening or the Fallen Albaz. There's a top 16 variant of this deck that played 13 in a 43 or something like that card deck. The probability of us seeing our defensive cards is actually higher than theirs, also in tandem with like the draw cards that we play. It's just all mathematics. You can just look it up if you would like. But I made the concession to the Flanders deck by playing these in the main, simply because like in that matchup, your only loss is literally to their monsters. And what I mean by that is like literally just barrier statue, right? You don't want to commit your normal summon to have to run over the barrier statue, because if you do, you triggers like all their effects. And as soon as they like you normal summon a guy, they get off their effects, they like Mega Monarch you, bounce your cards back on top of the deck, you just Lightning Storm them, blow up the board, and then you just continue playing. So this card is just insane in those matchups. Also beats the control decks. This card trades 1-for-1 with negates. Sword Soul isn't really a hard matchup at all. Most of the time, you're only afraid of their background like Blackout, Droplet, Imperm, and stuff like that, and this just takes care of that. Your monsters, you can just trade your engine with their monsters and then just beat them on the crackback, because they have literally no follow-up. So this card is just insane. 2 weeks prior to the event, we were playing Radiant the Dark Kaiju, because it actually makes your Super Polys a lot better, because you're able to like make Praskinian, because you can go like Kaiju Tribute over the Hulk, normal summon a Luber, bait out and gate. If not, then Super Poly their Dagda or Herald, plus the Kaiju that you gave them, make Praskinian, attack over the Baron, summon the Baron back. Baron pop the Fateful Adventure, then resolve your Brand Fusion that you search from the Luber, because the negate is live. So if they didn't negate it, that is. So this card's insane. But it never came up throughout Swiss where I wish this was a Radiant anyway. So this card was just really good overall. So I definitely recommend this card over the Kaiju. Mystic Mind, nothing really to say about this card. I really wanted to commit to this card a little bit more with playing like Terraforming, Metaverse, and Set Rotation, stuff like that. But this worked out fine. I only drew this a handful of times, and but every time it was just insane. So this card needs to get banned, like honestly. I don't know why this card is still legal. Circle no more, nothing really to say about this. Beats the health decks, beats the unfair decks, beats the buildable decks. And then this is like standard across like any Despia deck, whether it's blind second or whatever the case may be. It's usually like 3 drop like 3 super poly, so nothing really to say about that. So for the extra deck, it's 2 Libellion, 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albion, 2 Masquerade, 2 Gunning Chimera. I feel like this 10 is like standard across like most SP decks, like I said before. Usually it's like 1, 3 or whatever the case may be, and I never wanted to play just one of these because like, although the argument is like you're playing a blind second deck, so you're gonna play through the negates because this deck only loses the hard negations and cause like effect failure. So theoretically, like your Brain Fusion should resolve and Libellion should resolve every single time. But in a scenario where you don't have access to certain cards like that, and this gets negated by like Valor and Imperm or one or the other, you're just further behind, and that just shouldn't like occur. Like that actually came up at least 3-4 times this past weekend, where the first one always got negated. And the third one never actually came up with this until top 64. I was playing pretty aggressively and I wasn't managing my resources because I was down a game, so I was trying to like really just push the pace of the game, and it just like came back to bite me in the ass. But I felt like this was fine all weekend though. I wouldn't really change anything about it. Titanic Clad, I just wanted an additional like Mirror Jade target to send that had like multifaceted like functionality, in the sense of like this is your one way to out towers the little like Agnister, Psychic Punisher, whatever the case may be, but also like sending it off of Mirror Jade is also what helps you like to break apart boards. And what I mean by that is like one of the more common examples is like if your opponent Nibiru's you send this off the Mirror Jade at the end phase, summon the Albaz, fuse off with the Nibiru, make Albion banish the Albaz plus this, and make the Mirror Jade, and you reestablish control. So this was absolutely insane all weekend. That play only came up once. Abelonatus, like I said before, when we were playing the Kaiju, we were playing Praskinian, and I had to cut Praskinian for just like another Mirror Jade target, because having a fourth Mirror Jade target, and what I mean is like 4 monsters to send off Mirror Jade, essentially. Having the 4th target was pretty important, coming back in the grind game. And sometimes you don't always want to send Albion, mainly because like Albion can search Brandon Red and Brandon Banishment, and this can search Brandon Fusion. So if you intend to search Brandon Fusion, and like let's say you don't have like Tragedy and Graveyard for the Brandon Fusion, you can just send this instead. Or if you want to search Polymerization, if that really comes up for you. So yeah, and this was good against Dragon Link, but that never came up. Like that matchup was actually pretty free. I'm not gonna lie. Like I didn't realize they gave out buys. Shout out to my round 10 opponent for slow playing me. Despia Quietus, nothing really to say about this card. Helps make the Dragon Link matchup a lot easier. Beat Sword Soul, etc., etc. Like you guys know the usage of this. Draco Staplia, nothing to say. Psychic Venom, this is how you beat Psychic and Punisher. And a lot of people still don't know this play, but you basically go into battle phase. The Psychic and Punisher will attempt to activate at that point in time. You let it resolve, and then you summon this guy in the battle phase. And then that's how you beat the Psychic and Punisher. So for side deck, you'll realize that like my side deck, I played 9 hand traps. The initial conception of this side deck was that I wanted to play 9 hand traps that overlapped in a lot of different matchups. Like I think I played initially like 3 Droll, 3 Ash, and 3 Nibiru. But now I'm playing a crossouts in my deck, so I really wanted to have like overlap in other matchups like I mentioned previously. I was playing Zombie World initially, and then 3 Lightning Storms in the side deck, but now since the Lightning Storms are in the main, I'm not playing Zombie World. I wanted to have like just a really flexible side deck to where if I had a blind side, meaning I won game 1, I had enough flexibility to cover all the matchups to where if I was forced to go first, I could still play. 3 Droll, This beats Flanders. This beats the Drytron deck. That Drytron skip your turn deck. I think that's in like Thought of Ruler, where the case may be. And this card just beats that. It's okay in the mirror. It's not like the best. And then against the base deck, if you draw the base deck, they are required to have a really specific hand to be able to play through this. Just try it out. Double Ash, for obvious reasons, it's another crossout target, and I wanted like a second one, so where if I drew it in the mirror match, like it actually did something for certain decks. So double Nib, Veiler, and Imperm. This is 9 hand traps, and it covered a wider range than my previous lineup of 9 hand traps, so I was able to like fit more crossout targets and just be able to accomplish something. Combo decks, and then these are just like your generic crossout targets that people always Veiler, Imperm, the Aluber, or the Lobelion. So like, and it's really good too. And I drew this against my Sword Soul matchup around 7 or 8. I think it was like around 7. And I drew this against a Dino FTK player round 4. Shout out to that guy. He was really salty. I really hope he sees this, because then he'll just be even, I guess, even more childish and salty to see that I only play 1 Imperm. So, you know, it happens. You cut my deck, bro. But anyways, 3 crossout. Nothing really to say about this card. This card's insane. It beats. It helps you. It helps beating the mirror match and make it a lot easier. It's a concession to certain cards such as like Anti-Spell and D-Barrier, because if we're just like considering like certain cards, the only ways to like actually counteract this card is like either Red Reboot, or if they D-Barrier you have to Mystic Mind them to be able to like essentially pause the game state and prevent it from like prevent yourself from dying. But most of the time, like when these cards come out, they're usually associated with the negates anyways. So I wanted cards in this lot that were generic across, again, like every other matchup, because if these were like Cosmics or Twins that attempt to out this card, it would still get negated by Baron anyways. Like it just didn't matter in that essence, and like I just wanted this because this was just a lot better. And then if they go Sword Soul to do the draw 2 combo to attempt to draw this, I at least get a fighting chance. So, and then last card is Red Reboot, so nothing really to say about this card. But yeah, like I said, try it out. It's a 50 card deck. It worked out really well for me this past weekend, and like I mentioned previously, I think I said all my shoutouts already. But if not, then huge shout out again to all the Houston, Texas players group, Christian Urena, Cam Neal, Jordan Miller, and yep, that's it, man. So we'll catch you guys in the next video.